Hi guys, my name is Jacob Turnbow and I will be talking about how stress affects our lives. So a little background on myself. Currently, I work a 40-hour week job. I'm serving in the Marine Corps Infantry as a rifleman, as well as I am a student that is studying to become a pilot. As we might be able to tell, I do have a lot of stressors in my life. And that is not always a bad thing. I'll tell you why. There are two different types of stress. There is distress, which is bad stress that's not good for you. And then there is eustress, which is a more productive type of stress in a person's life. And a stress-free life is not a good thing. This is because struggle is what makes a person's character be defined and how they grow into a productive and outstanding person. A good way that eustress can be implemented is by confronting a challenge, struggling for success, and you'll grow as an individual from that challenge. A couple examples of eustress are what I'm currently doing right now, is public speaking. Public speaking is a great way to implement a controlled amount of stress in a person's life, and it lets them grow and progress and create a new skill. As we can tell, I am not the best at public speaking, but here I am, so I can work through this problem, work towards an end, and hopefully become a better speaker when I'm done with this assignment. The biggest example that I can also think of for creating eustress in my life was joining the Marine Corps. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do after high school, but I knew I needed a change in my life or else I was going to be stuck doing the same thing. Lots of my friends had talked about the big three different options after high school. You can either go to college, which I knew I didn't want to do. I was very burnt out from school and needed a break. Since we live in Utah, an LDS mission is also a big thing, but I'm not really involved with the church, so that was off the table. And the third is joining the military. I'd always kind of thought about it during my high school years, but hadn't given any action to this plan. So I decided to go around, talk to a couple of the recruiters, and kind of figure out which branch would fit for me. And it came down to two different factors. First factor was I heard the Marine Corps was the toughest and most respected branch. And the second factor was I thought they had the coolest uniforms. So ultimately, I chose the Marine Corps. It was quite the eye-opening experience and definitely filled with stress. Going through boot camp, you are running, screaming, and doing push-ups all day long until they finally tell you you can go to sleep, and even then it doesn't end there. You are stressed the entire time going through boot camp. There is not a time that you can relax and kind of just do whatever you feel like until you finish. Some people become so stressed out that they'll just be screaming out commands in the middle of the night while they're sleeping. And I am also guilty of that because apparently I woke up my rackmate one time when I was screaming, "Aye, sir," which was pretty funny for me, not as much for him because sleep is precious. But it really provided me with opportunities to practice new skills such as leadership roles, which is what I got when I was doing my infantry training. I led a squad through multiple different types of attack drills on the enemy, providing lots of stress that happen in a combat situation, whether you're getting gunfire at you or they had tiny explosive devices that the instructors would throw at you while you're training to simulate artillery rounds impacting near you to make sure you can work under pressure. They would also pretend that someone got shot, and then you'd have one less man in your team, and you'd have to go save that man as well as complete the objective. So I definitely got all the stress that I bargained for out of the military and still continue with that stress today. But the main things with stress that I found work for me are staying calm, cool, and collected. That way you aren't freaking out, as well as you need to prioritize what needs to get done, plan out how it will be done, and then execute those plans in a solid format so you can keep track of your progress, and that will help as you continue down the line. What also works best with these plans are acute stress, which is short term, usually not that long of lasting, like under around the 3 to 6 month range. What is a stronger stressor to get out of is chronic stress, which is a long-term stress that most people will spiral and get caught and feel like there's no way out. The main thing with chronic stress is you need to avoid going down the rabbit hole of hopelessness and figuring out what you need to do to get back on track. For most people, writing things down can be a big factor in relieving stress. Getting something mapped out on paper and getting you to what you need, and getting you to figure out what you need to get done in order to get your life back on track.